Hi there, so in this video we're going to look at creating a vocal hook for this loop, which will give us some more scope for various different sections when we start arranging this track out. I might look at one or two of these kind of lead and pad sounds and create some variations on these like we did with this lead, maybe create another variation. Start thinking about a breakdown, because we've got the drop, that's the drop when everything's going to kick in, but we maybe want some kind of sections to lead into a breakdown and some breakdown sections. So the vocal is going to be quite useful for this, and I'm going to make a really simple vocal hook, and I'm going to use Apple loops. So if I hit O on my keyboard and it brings up my Apple loops folder, and I can actually just click on vocals and it brings up all these vocals, and some of these are more usable than others, and in all fairness, if you have a vocalist you can work with, or you can get some quite nice vocal sample CDs, then maybe choose one of them and start chopping up some vocals. But I just thought for this walkthrough, for this track, one of these vocals is going to work quite nicely. So
it's alright, it's alright, it's alright.
A lot of these vocals are quite cheesy, to be fair, but I was listening through before,
It's alright.
and there was some of these sounded alright. I think it was the Christie lyrics. Some of these aren't too bad.
Baby, come on. Baby, come on. Can you do me a favor? Don't you care? Don't you know?
Just listen to those two and thinking I could do something quite cool with these two vocals, and start off with this one, and it automatically plays it, although it's in the key of C, it's going to play in song key, so it's read that the key of my track is in A, and it's kind of matched the vocal to that, which is quite nice. So if I play this vocal with the track now, it's all going to be in key, or it should be at least. See, that sounds fine to me. So kind of zoom in on this vocal a little bit, hit O to close the Apple Loops folder, and just going to do some quite simple, sort of chop this up a little bit really, but in a very, very simple way. So I'm going to get my scissors tool up in Logic, and if I hold Alt or Option and then click on, say, one of the beats, it's going to chop this into equal parts. So if I am holding Alt or Option here and I've got the scissors tool, I'm just going to click on the beat here, and it just chops it into four. It chops it on the beat, which is quite a nice way of just chopping up vocal or piece of audio. And when I'm creating vocal loops in this way, what I tend to do sometimes is just loop over little sections of the vocal to see what they would sound like, you know, if you were starting to chop them up. Like, and you start to get an idea of how you might chop this vocal up. Okay, so I'm going to do some quite simple editing here. Get rid of that end bit because there's nothing, not really any audio on there, and I'm going to chop this in half and double it up. And I quite like the second half of this section. So I'm going to copy this over and maybe double it up again. So we have, and with all this audio chopped up, we could actually just apply some fade ins, fade outs, so there's no clips on any of these little regions that we've created. And we've got quite a nice little sort of edit going on there, very quickly, very easily. And in this second bar, I'm going to create a slight variation on that. So using the same kind of vocalist, singing a similar sort of phrase. And let's just have a little break in the vocal. Everything the start of that is quite right, so let's chop some of the start of that off. Okay, that's sounding a bit better. I might just take this little section And that don't tube bit, I might just double this up here, this first little section. Something like that. And again, let's do some fade in, fade outs on these bits of audio. And straight away, let's do a bit of processing on this vocal because it's a bit dry at the moment. So I'm going to add some reverb. I'm going to add some reverb as a bus send, so we can start creating some auxiliary sends here for reverbs and whatnot, and start sending some tracks to them. So created this auxiliary send or bus send here, and I'm going to use the Valhalla Vintage Verb. It's just a really nice reverb. It has quite a nice sound. So just solo up this vocal. Listen to this. Take some of the low cut out of the reverb. Bring down the decay. And it's just softening the vocal, giving it a little bit of space. And I'm also going to put some delay straight on the channel, some tape delay. Bring the dry right up there and keep everything else as it is. And that's sounding alright. Right then, so let's now think of using this same vocal phrases in a slightly different way to create some tension in a breakdown section, for example. So I'm actually going to drag them both in again. Don't you care? The full phrases like that onto a separate audio channel down here, and let's just start imagining a little breakdown section in the track. So bring them out over here. Let's maybe bring this pad over as well. Unmute that. Don't you care? Don't you know? So I'm just going to keep the vocals as they are, but I'm going to put quite a big delay on this vocal, and I'm going to use a Fab Filter delay. It's called Timeless, and it just has some really cool presets that we can create something quite nice with this. So I'm going to go straight into the long section because some of these are quite sort of big, obvious delay effects. It might not work so much in where the beat is going and you've got the drop of the track, but in breakdown sections they're really cool. So don't you care? Don't you care? Not much. Don't you care? Don't you care? And we'll just go through until we hear something we really like. That's pretty cool. Don't you care? 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 That's pretty nice. Has really long delay time. Don't you know? You can filter the delay a bit here, and this great thing about Timeless and a couple of other delay plugins, you have on Timeless you have freeze. So when I hit freeze, it's just going to freeze the delay, and this is going to sound really cool, I think. So hit freeze, and it just freezes that delay. So if we automated this, something like that, and we're creating a vocal pad effectively. And when we start filtering that and automating it and stuff, it's going to sound great in a breakdown section. I'm going to do a slight variation on this pad sound and take away these high notes and just extend the A3, maybe just join them all up. So you just have that one sustained pad now. It's just a bit more suspense building. And let's also look at this lead sound. We created this variation here, so where we took out some of the notes. Let's go one step further with that, and actually just going to duplicate the channel because it might be quicker to do it this way. Copy this MIDI over and put it in this kind of breakdown section that we're creating here. And let's go ahead and actually mute even more of these notes now. So maybe just have that first section of notes like that.
Don't you care? Don't you know?
And let's add a big delay on this as well. So I'm gonna go for timeless again.
Don't you care?
So maybe you're looking long again.
Don't you care? Don't you care? Don't you care?
So some of these sound really cool.
Don't you care?
Sounds good.
Don't you care?
Something like that with a slightly different delay time.
Don't you care?
Change the filter section a bit.
Don't you care?
That's pretty cool.
Don't you know?
Okay, so we're thinking about a breakdown section there, and it's just going to lead on to that quite naturally. So if you had this vocal in this section here,
Don't you care?
and with a little bit more work and some more effects and automation, it's going to sound quite cool. Okay, so in the next video, we're going to start organising some of this stuff a little bit more and just getting a bit of a rough arrangement going. Alright, cheers.